Jungkook's heart skipped a beat as he looked into Taeyoung's eyes. His words were stuck in his deeply as he realized that he couldn't take his feelings at Hyder any longer. He took a deep breath and held Taeyoung's hand. Thank you for loving me. Though I am hurt you so much. Hearing him, they shook his head. His tiny eyes were shading with that unsure tears were shifting a little closer to him. They leaned toward him. His face were kissing him, and cheeks were softly making Jungkook. His eyes are feeling that softness of his lips. Confess him now. Come on. No, I have to make it special for him. He wanted to make they feel the love, and just like he deserved. He know that a simple confession will not be enough to express that depth of his feeling for him. He wanted to create a memory that they would be, that both would criticize forever. We should sleep now. It's already midnight, he said, and getting up for the bed, his eyes were lowered. He was embarrassed. How can you kiss him like that? You're so stupid. What if you think of me as some desperate boy? His eyes were tear up at his thoughts. That didn't go unnoticed by Jungkook, who quickly got up from the bed and held Taeyoung by his shoulder. He looked into his eyes and spoke that utmost sincerity. Taeyoung, you're the most incredible boy I have ever seen. I want to spend my every moment with you. You have every right on me, okay? As much as you want. I'm yours, only yours. And I love you. He wanted to say that too, but held it himself. Taeyoung looked up at Jungkook, and his eyes were filled with that surprise and hope. They could feel his heart was racing, and that warmth or feeling was spread through his body. He never expressed those words for him, and they meant more to him than any guard proposed girl. As they all doubt and insecurities were melted away, he gently pulled Taeyoung into a hug, and realizing that the warmth and comfort of his presence, they know their love story may be not like Kai or Jenny, but it was uniquely theirs, and that will be made it perfect. Mr. John, please concentrate on your file, Yoongi said, getting enough of his boss. For the last few days, Jungkook had been acting weirdly. He wore a smile all the time, a grin that shivered down to his spine. Oh God, that's too weird. Oh Yoongi, I am. Yoongi cut his word. No, you're not. You have been acting weird. Now spill the tea, he said, and setting himself on that couch. Jungkook clenched at Yoongi that he knew that he couldn't keep that secret any longer. Taking a deep breath, he decided to share that happiness with his best friend. All right, I'll spill the tea, Yoongi said. You remember Tae, right? My wife? Yoongi nodded, a curious expression on his face. Of course. How can I forget? So what's going on? Jungkook interrupted him, shaking his head. Taeyoung, and confess his feeling for me. He loved me. And what about you? Did you confess him too? Yoongi asked with an amused smirk. You know that Jungkook is clearly a stupid and romantic thing. Jungkook sighed heavily before shaking his head. I didn't, but I will do it soon. Yoongi shook his head, disappointed at his friend. But it was not surprise. You better to do it soon. Yes, I will. Yoongi grinned, clearly that excited for his friend. Cool. I'm happy for you. So what's next? Have you planned anything special for him? Yoongi leaned toward a mischievous grin in his eyes. Oh, you bet I have. I'm going to surprise them with a grand romantic. That's something that will sweep up his feet. I want to create a memory that he will criticize forever. Yoongi laughed clearly, entertained by Jungkook's newfound enthusiasm. Well, I can't wait to see what was coming up. Just make sure it's not too cheesy. Jungkook chuckled, appreciating Jungkook's humor. Don't worry, I keep it classy. I just want it to be meaningful expression for my love for thee. Suddenly, Jungkook's phones were buzzing. He looked at the dialer. It was Taeyong. He smiled and glared at Yoongi. Leave, he said, almost in a rude voice, earning a gasp from Yoongi. How rude. Fine, have fun with your wife. He scratched his nose teasingly and left for the cabin. As Yoongi left the cabin, Jungkook answered the call. Hello, my beautiful wife, he answered in a cheesy voice, but soon his smile was dropped. Jungkook, Dad is in the hospital. Please come quick, I'm scared. Jungkook's heart was dropped as he listened to Taeyong's trembling voice. He couldn't seem that fear and panic in his word. Without wasting any time, he quickly grabbed the coat and rushed out of the office, leaving everything behind. As he dropped toward the hospital, through that race, Jungkook's mind, he felt a wave of emotion, worry, fear, and responsibilities. He tried to stay calm, hoping that whatever had happened, it was not too serious. Arriving at the hospital, Jungkook rushed through the doors and asked the receptionist about Taeyong's father's condition. With a heavy heart, he made his way to that ward, where he found Taeyong anxiously waiting. Taeyong's eyes were red, and the tears were streaming down his face. As he saw Jungkook, he quickly rushed into his arm, seeking that comfort and solace. Jungkook held him tightly, trying to reassure Tae that everything would be all right. Inside the hospital room, Jungkook's father-in-law was lay weak, and that Frangle on that bed. Tubes and wires were connected for him in the various machines, and that atmosphere was filled heavy with worry. Mr. Kim is calling his son inside, a nurse said. As soon as she came out of the room, they inhaled a deep breath and looked at Jungkook, who nodded his head as a sorry. They walked, entered the room. His father lay weak on the bed. His heart was sinking, seeing him in that state. Appa, he sat on the stool. That stool was holding the father's hand. Mr. Kun opened his eyes and weakly glared at his son. Taeyong, eyes were wet. He smiled, seeking after a long time. He knew that his son was angry with him for marrying him off. That's someone who doesn't even know about it. He knew they hated him for using that in a business, but that's not true. Yes, he forced Tae to get married, but that was because he's scared that he might not able to take good care of him. He had made some decisions in that past, and his business was suffered greatly. He was down in debt and saw no way. So he made the way to a businessman, hoping that it will secure his future and provide that financial stabilities for both of them. But he had never imagined that it would be cause so much pain and that between him and his son, he could see that anger and hurt in his eyes every time they met, and it broke his heart. He whispered weakly, his voice was bearable. I'm sorry, son. I never wanted to hurt you. I thought I was doing was bad for you. They interrupted, and the tears were streaming down his face. Appa, I know you want the best for me, and you did that. He's the one who's for me. He did his hurt first by his word, but now he's changed. Respect me, respect our relationship, and see, it's more than a business deal. I love him. I love you too. Sorry for ignoring you out of that anger. They look at his father. He knew his father would made those decisions out of desperation, out of the love for him. Deep down, he still loved that everything. As his father and son were sharing a moment, Jungkook stood at the door, watching silently. He knew that this was a turning point in their relationship, a chance for healing and forgiveness, and he would do everything in his power to support them both. Jungkook will stand beside Taeyong, supporting him in their journey and trust and repairing the broken bond within their family.